Okay, welcome to the October 2022 CB3 Manhattan CB3 SLA meeting. My name is Michelle Cooper-Smith. I'm the chair of the committee. Just going to go through a few guidelines before we get started. One, obviously the meeting is being recorded, so please be aware of that. Please sign into the chat with your name and affiliation if relevant, if you have not already. The chat is only used to sign up to speak, and for technical issues, it only goes to me. I will announce when each agenda item is up for comment from the public. So basically what happens is I'll call an item, I'll go through a rundown of the application, I'll give the applicant a chance to clarify or add anything that I missed. Generally, we'll then go to committee questions, and then we'll go to the public, and I'll ask you to raise your Zoom hand when we get there. I will recognize speakers with a maximum 2-minute time limit to speak. If you're here with a group, please select no more than 2 speakers to speak on your point of view, but you can tell me how many people are here and we'll record that. Please keep yourself muted unless you've been recognized, or I will mute you, or Susan or Sarah will mute you. And we're just, in case you're here, Fishmarket II at 171 Avenue A actually withdrew earlier today, so they will not be heard tonight. So if you're here for that, check the agenda. They should be coming back next month. And also, committee sorry, is that you, Susan?
Pardon?
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. Committee, I've just been a bit unwell the past couple of days. So if I become unwell enough or so unwell that I cannot continue with the meeting, David has graciously agreed to pinch hit with assistance from Susan. So apologies if that happens, but I think we have all the materials already, just so that you're aware. And I will say that I am going to go a little bit out of order this evening, just to hopefully knock off the more difficult ones while I'm still fine. So I'm gonna ask the committee as the first item if there are any objections to last month's minutes. Please voice your objections if you have any, committee. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go into the first roll call vote. Michelle Cooper-Smith, present. Jeanette Kim, absent. Sarah Bachu,
Present.
Jesse is absent tonight. David Crane,
Here.
Jamie Felber. Who is Jamie?
Here.
Amanda Liu.
Here.
Thanks, guys. And can we, just so you know, we're going to do the numbers 2 and 3 last. We do the non-applications last so that we can get the applicants out of here. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is number 12, 318 Grand Street, 2 Snakes LLC. Is the applicant present?
Yes, I'm the attorney, but I see the applicant here as well, Adam Moonves.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm just going to drop the application in the chat so that everyone can follow along. And I will read through the highlights of this application. Okay, so this is an application for a full on-premises liquor license in the cellar level of 318 Grand Street on the corner of Orchard and it's not really on the corner of Orchard and Grand. And it is a cellar. The proposal is for a cellar level bowling alley with one entrance and exit on Orchard Street that goes directly into the cellar. It's off a little bit set back from the corner. There's a certificate of occupancy of 175 people, 8 tables and 74 seats with 2 rectangular bars, one with 16 seats and one with 6 seats. Bowling alley, I would encourage the committee to look at the floor plan. If you have any other questions, that's in the application. This is a previously unlicensed space. It was a fabric warehouse. There are 18 full on premises liquor licenses within 500 feet. One of the principals is a license holder at Mr. Fong's on Market Street, which is in our district, has no disciplinary actions, but had been an issue with noise, but has since calmed down according to the office, according to Susan, so no problems anytime recently. Also a license holder in CD2 at the Tribeca Hotel for Primos, no disciplinary actions from either. And another principal does not have a license, I don't believe, but runs a restaurant in Chelsea Market. We received one letter from a representative of the Orchard Street Block Association in opposition. 101 residents who live within 2 blocks signed a petition in favor. Okay, and then the hours they're requesting are Monday to Friday, closing by 2 a.m. Sunday to Thursday. Sorry, 2 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 4 a.m. Friday to Saturday closures. And opening at 5 p.m. and 3 p.m. No outdoor space. And like I said, no even first floor space. They're asking for both background and entertainment level music in the basement with a DJ no more than 3 times a week and a jukebox, but no live music promote events or scheduled events. So I think we would ask them if we would approve this to commit to making sure there's only that one entrance on Orchard Street. It's only ever going to be the cellar, no first level, etc. Just as like a non-typical stipulation that we would potentially add. Anything I missed there, Joseph or Adam or Hardy?
No, that was pretty good recap, Michelle. As you said, we had 101 signatures from a 2-block radius. I think the total was 168, count from a little bit further if you include that area as well. We did reach out to all the block associations that the board recommended. Most of them responded that they were going to defer to other ones or it was out of their purview. I know, my clients had met with a couple folks. And as you said, there's a subterranean space. They've taken a lot of efforts to make sure that we were able to include a comprehensive sound study, a security plan, and done a lot of homework here in advance of this meeting.
Thanks, Joseph. I don't have any questions for them. Does the committee have any questions? Okay. I'm going to see if there's anyone here from the community who would like to speak. Please put your Zoom hand up if you're here for number 12, 318 Grand Street, 2 Snakes, the bowling alley. I know I had seen one person sign into the chat. Okay. Emma, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Emma Colbert. I'm here from the Space Block Association. We actually, I'm the president, and Linda Jones, who is the secretary, and we met with the 2 gentlemen along with the person who was renting out the building. As you can see, there are, 18 OP licenses within a 500. So that's well beyond the scope of what would be more than 3 establishments beyond a 500 foot. So, and my concern is, what is this actually going to be bringing to the community in a positive way and staying open till 4 a.m. in an area that's absolutely become saturated? I live right in the middle of, I live 2 blocks away from them, where this location is. And our neighborhood has absolutely exploded. I'm sure if some of you have walked through here, you should actually walk through here. Just make it a Wednesday night. It doesn't even have to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So asking for a 4 a.m. seems way beyond the scope of what is reasonable. I would actually think there should be some questions from the board in terms of what they plan to do and bring to the community that's going to be better than any of the other bars and restaurants in this neighborhood that have now been able to explode onto the streets with open streets and open restaurants. So I'm concerned, they have when they opened Mr. Fong's, it was a number of years ago, They did have a reputation for sort of lighting it up. I can't say I know what the current situation and reputation is there. You said it calmed down. I don't know. So I'd be interested to hear what they're actually going to bring in terms of value to this neighborhood that is already super saturated with nightlife. And in my opinion, Mayor Adams has given away to the food and beverage industry the streets of public domain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else here from the community to speak on this one? Number 12, 318 Grand Street. Okay. Committee, do you have any questions?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, what is going to be on the ground floor?
My understanding, but I don't, Joseph, is that it's going to be completely separate. It's not connected at all, like retail or something.
Yeah, I believe it's a bank directly upstairs, right, guys?
A bank's on the corner,
Yeah, and
the other corner.
Yeah, the bank closes pretty early too, within the hours that we're gonna be operating.
No, we're asking what's going to be directly above your space. It's empty now.
Directly above it is a vacant retail space currently as well, which is like right next to the bank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Why would you choose to just take the basement space rather than the ground floor and the basement? Is that not an option?
Well, it's just because we also just didn't want to, we wanted it to be contained. It took us a long time to find a space that we could have like the right ceiling height and stuff like that and keep it to where it's more contained and intimate like that. It's like the bowling's more of just like an amenity. It's like an addition. It's like, it's 2 lanes. We're not doing like, you know, a huge one that they just opened up over on Essex Street recently. It's like a whole different thing, you know? It's more just like a lounge and it's just like an intimate setting for the community, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the answer is they don't know what's going to be on the first floor yet, and it's up to the landlord. But I actually spoke to Linda, Emma's partner at Space, and she said that the landlady seemed pretty serious about it not being a bar or anything. So like different plans for the first floor, because yes, that was my initial concern, was that this is going to be a 2-floor establishment with like huge window sauna corner in a busy area. So that's not what it is though, just to be clear.
Not at all.
Anyone else from the committee?
Well, so there's no plans to do it now. Can we get them to agree that they are actually never going to expand onto that first floor, even if it were offered?
We can put that in the stipulations.
I mean, we have no plans. to-
Yeah, we have no plans to that at all. So yeah.
Good, let's do that then.
Okay. Dennis, do you want to speak? You have 2 minutes.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I heard the question about Mr. Fong's. No, Mr. Fong's has not calmed down. We live right here in the building. And so far this year, we're talking January to now of 2022, the police have taken action there 20-something times. Now that's the times they've been able to come and encounter the problem and take action. Now that's only the calls that I know about. And so we have people out here carousing till 4 o'clock in the morning and sometimes after 4 a.m. So we can't handle any more right here to keep us awake at night. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is at the corner of Grand and Allen. Is that where it is?
At the corner of Grand and Orchard.
At Orchard. Well, Okay. 4 AM is pretty late. I mean, I realize it's contained in the basement, but 4 AM license, there are quite a lot, there's quite a lot happening at that corner, as Emma was pointing out. Yeah. I don't know. What's the situation with other licenses nearby? What hours are those? This is a pretty congested area with licenses already. The committee doesn't generally go that late in areas that are very congested.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head what they are. I mean, the closest, like, there isn't really much on Grand itself. It's more like on Orchard Street, and there's Last Lap is probably like the closest one, and then Cafe Katia. But I think that Cafe Katia doesn't, I'm not sure if they have a full OP. Like, it's mostly restaurants on that block. I think Last Lap might be the only like bar.
Katya definitely has OP.
Cafe Katia does. Okay, I just have never gotten a cocktail there.
The best cocktails.
Oh, all right, good to know. But David, just like, it's like a little bit, it's like mid-block is the first licenses, and then it's mostly restaurants. Yeah. Except for, I think Last Lap would probably be the one place I would really consider a bar. Amanda, go ahead.
I was just going to add that it looks like the gutter on Essex is open until 4 as well. So I know it's a different street and intersection, but just wanted to point that out as it's a somewhat similar business model, I guess. So it's just something to consider to the conversation.
Jamie, go ahead.
For the sake of being devil's advocate here, what do we talk like when we talk about the nuances of no previously unlicensed spaces? Because we do have a duty of care to the community board as well as to constituents as well as restaurants and bars. I understand that we sort of, we have an opinion that there is a difference between not currently licensed and never licensed previously, and this would fall under the latter. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So is it because it's a basement that we're not bringing that up? I'm just curious. Like, is there something that I don't know about that is like, because it's contained in the basement, the issue doesn't stand?
No, I mean, no, I think it's a legitimate issue to bring up. I mean, the one difference is it's like Grand Street is a fully commercial, its own fully commercial. Obviously the entrance is on Orchard Street, so there's like a little bit of that, and also we haven't like typically considered that little nook super saturated, if that makes sense. Like, in our guidance, we had specifically Avenue A and the upper Lower East Side, so not this side of this lower part of the Lower East Side, just for context, Jamie. But no, I mean, I think it's a legitimate thing to be bringing up. I think in any case, when we're thinking about licensing a previously a never licensed space, it's something to bring up. I mean, should we hear more from them about what their plan is?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Can you guys tell us a little bit more about like what the plan is? Like, is it mainly bowling? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I'll let Adam and Hardeep talk about that in a second. But just before they do, I just wanted to mention that we're aware, obviously, of going into a space that's not been previously licensed and the challenges that presents, which is, one of the contributing reasons, other than just wanting to be good operators, that we went and commissioned a sound report this early in the process. So we actually have a sound report with recommendations, proper testing done, and we plan to adhere to all those recommendations to ensure that we have the least negative impact on the community as possible, if it's going to be negative at all, which I don't believe that it will. But Adam and Hardeep can talk more to the operations and what they envision for the client experience.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so our idea behind all this is that we wanted to get a basement space that's more of a lounge setting, where it's like an intimate zone for people to hang out, like within the community or the neighborhood. Whereas it's open to public, but at the same time, it's more of a private setting. And we wanted to have the addition of adding this 2-lane bowling alley concept, because it's like right now, you know, it's offered around town, but around New York, you don't really see it to where it just has 2 lanes like that. And it's good for people for, you know, a Christmas party or this and that. And it's just like, they can hold their own thing. You know, it's a different opportunity for people that's not offered as of now.
And also the size, why we chose that place, and also being a basement, the reason for that is also to tuck it away from like the ground level and have one intimate area without causing that much noise. We have no outdoor area where people like hang out. There will be no lines outside where people like hang out. It's like literally like the sidewalk. So this is a different setup than, for example, like Fonz's, where like there's an outdoor area, people drink and hang out. That's in our case for that location, not theirs. There's nothing out there besides the door which leads straight down to the basement.
Yeah, we're offering things for the public as well as like private scenarios. So I mean, and it took a long time to find a space that can do this concept that we tried to figure out that isn't offered anywhere. You know, it's one of a kind.
Well, I mean, I would just challenge that because there's actually a bowling alley like 2 blocks away. So what is gonna, you know, because I'm asking this because it's, as Jamie said, especially for an unlicensed space subject to the 500-foot rule, we have to say why there's public benefit to approving this.
I think what they're saying is that, yes, there are bowling alleys around town, but there are no places that are more of a bar, of a lounge setting that have just a lane or 2. So if you're going to go bowling, you're going to go to a bowling alley, you make your night event bowling. Here you can go and have a drink, have something to eat, hang out with some friends, and then just go bowl a quick game and then come back to the bar or whatever you're doing. And that is something that I just don't see around that often.
Yeah, you can choose if you want to even do it or not. And also at the end of the day, it's like we're giving an experience that doesn't exist for people, because right now, you know, when you go to the one on Essex, for instance, it's just a bowling alley with like a huge bar in the middle. It's not, there's no really experience except for just you go there to bowl. You know, this is more like where people can socialize and stuff like that, but it's contained in the basement, you know? So it took a while to find a space for that type of concept that we have.
Okay, I think there's actually one more member of the public that wants to speak. Tamara, do you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. Sorry that I was late to the meeting. Thanks for giving me the time. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say that I missed the beginning part of the presentation. So I'm not sure, I don't want to repeat what was, if anything was already said, but many people from the area have been writing to us about this license. Basically, they're referencing especially the fact that the people that are opening it are involved with Mr. Fong's, and Mr. Fong's, a lot of neighbors around this neighborhood, they have a lot of complaints about Mr. Fong's and the way that they have been operating. I'm not going to get into all that, but you guys know has been going on. As you said already, there's no public benefit for another bowling alley. It's never been licensed before space. And the area is super saturated with tons of lifestyle problems for the residents here because of the super saturation in the area. So neighbors around this neighborhood, we would ask that the committee take all of that into account. A lot of people wrote in asking, for us to try to stop it entirely, which obviously would be our preference. We don't see anything different. We don't see any public benefit, especially the fact that what's been going on in this area. I'm not going to go on and on. You guys all know what goes on here. It's getting worse and worse. So we don't want any more of this stuff in our area, basically. A lot of neighbors are really upset and concerned. So thank you.
Thanks. Marcel, can you go, and then I'm going to cut off because we're kind of out of order, but Marcel, go ahead.
Hi, I came in a little late as well, but I did catch some of the gentlemen speaking. And again, not to echo what Tamara was saying in regards to, this statement of it's a benefit for the neighborhood and for the public. I think that's kind of been the agenda of everyone that's come into the neighborhood, especially in the last couple of years. And in the end, the benefits we end up with are all these problems, all these noise problems, all these crime problems, all these drinking on the street problems. And I get it. There's no bowling alley in the parameters of this neighborhood, but is that something we really want to factor in when all the other issues in the neighborhood have not been resolved for us? And they just bring us other problems, not just problems within the businesses, but they just linger into it. And the whole thing is like, oh yeah, it's going to have benefits for the outside. Yes, more problems outside lingering and connecting Hell Square into Dime Square. And this is the link that, it's been waiting to happen, and it's been happening simultaneously. So I think it would be highly irresponsible to make this happen. And it sounds great, but we all know it's a disaster after the fact, and it's impossible to control. Thank you.
Let us prove you wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think, may I speak? It's more like, I think it's a different clientele. It's also different ambience, like the whole bar, like design of it. You want to create something very beautiful, which will attract probably a different crowd than places we have problems in our neighborhood, which I understand with noise and all this stuff, but we're trying to attract different type of people who are not hanging outside and having tons of cigarettes and being loud and stuff. And that's why we especially chose this place with any possibility of people standing outside.
And we're not even considering it, and our landlord's not even going to allow us to even have anything outside. So we're just going to have a security person outside to help contain things. But it's we're not planning on anything on the block, and we're also in the basement. We're creating an experience right now that it's hard to understand, maybe because it's a setting that doesn't really exist. We understand we shouldn't think of this as a bowling alley. That's the addition. It's just it's there. It's 2 lanes. It's not Okay,
I don't think that's helping your case, so I'm just going to cut you off now. I'm going to go to David Crane.
Yeah, I move that we amend the steps so that it will say a 2 a.m. closing.
All nights.
All nights.
Okay, I'll second that. Any objections to that, committee?
No, not here.
Okay. Okay, so just committee, as I'm just going to make these edits.
So let us explain myself briefly. I believe they're going to get a license, given that it's a commercial, that it's the zone commercial for that address. And yeah, there are quite a few licenses down there already, but in any case, I'm pretty sure they're going to get their license, so we need to restrict it in this way.
Thanks, David. I wonder, my main concern, if we're going to approve this, is about there being people outside on the street. Susan, is there any Susan Stetzer, is there any other stip our typical stip is it will ensure there are no wait lines outside and will designate an employee for assuring no loitering, noise, or crowds outside. And I'll also would only have an entrance on Orchard Street that goes directly to the cellar, and we'll never use the ground floor for any operations. But is there anything stronger, Susan? I know we do the reservations, but that doesn't seem like that's going to work here.
No, I don't think it was. I can't see anything else you can do, and I can't see anything that's going to stop crowds on the street.
What do you mean?
I mean, people can have all the best intentions, but if there's going to be a lot of people on the street, I don't know any stipulations that stronger than what you're doing.
Well, I wonder if we can. Joseph, are you planning to have a door, a security guard checking IDs on Orchard Street, or is it going to be inside?
Yeah, so we submitted a security plan. I mean, the space isn't built yet, so it's hard to get the details down, but our whole idea here is trying to minimize our impact on the outside of the space. So again, like these guys mentioned, the way the space is set up, the whole space really acts as like a holding area. It's not like you have people waiting in line to go bowl. The whole space is kind of in itself a holding area, and they're going to monitor the capacity to make sure that they're not over capacity, and that if they reach capacity, that's that.
Sorry, I apologize. You had a very long application, which I appreciate, but I'm forgetting some of it. So are you planning though to have a security guard on like outside the door checking IDs, or are they gonna be inside checking IDs once they get inside? Because I feel like there will inevitably end up being a line if you have someone outside, but this is a huge space. So I'm wondering if it can be like checking IDs at the bottom of the stairs and sending people back up kind of thing.
I don't know that part has been determined yet, but if it's the board's position that they'd prefer IDs to be checked downstairs, then, we're happy to accommodate it. And I would defer to the security company that put together the security plan to decide whether there's an additional guard that is necessary upstairs. I think it makes sense to have some presence on the street to prevent people from, lingering and loitering and things like that. But if it makes more sense to have IDs checked downstairs to make sure there's not a queue upstairs, then I'm sure that's no issue.
Okay, Susan, I mean, I feel like that's probably because I'm just thinking about the
Where
place.
are they smoking?
Well,
I mean, is there going to be an area that they're going to direct them to or have them or try and have it contained within an area?
so I think that's separate though from like people that are coming in to enter. So let's talk about first the entering, and then we can talk about the smoking.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think checking everything inside and any weight line should be inside. And for the security guard to not allow crowds to remain when leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, so it will only check IDs inside the establishment to ensure that there are no queues on the street, and the security guards will ensure that no patrons congregate outside the entrance
When leaving,
when leaving.
because you can't stop them if they go out first.
Right,
So-
yeah. Okay. And does that sound fine, Joseph? Your client's gonna agree to that?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. I just feel like that'll help us feel good about the street situation.
Yeah, that's a large part of what we're trying to accomplish.
Great. And then in terms of smoking, Susan, like it will direct people to Grand Street to smoke.
I don't know. I don't know where the best area is, but
I mean, around the corner on Grand Street, because it's a commercial building.
yeah, that sounds good then.
Is that all right, Joseph, amenable?
Guys, that makes sense? Okay, it's good.
Yes, it does, yes.
Okay, so it will direct all patrons exiting to smoke to Grand Street. Committee, does that sound good, both of those?
Yep.
So you cut out there for that last bit. Say it again.
I'm just gonna put this in the chat so you can see it. I'm just gonna remind everyone that the chat is only for technical issues and signing up to speak. You can't have a meeting within a meeting. Thank you. So I just dropped the stipulations I wrote into the chat committee. It will only check IDs inside the establishment to ensure that there are no queues in the street, and security guards will ensure that no patrons congregate outside the entrance when leaving. It will direct all patrons exiting to smoke to Grand Street. It will only have an entrance on Orchard Street that goes directly to the cellar, and will never use the ground floor for any operations. Okay. All right, committee, any other concerns, questions before we move this into a vote? I guess I should do a straw poll actually about approving versus disapproving. Approving would be approving with all these stipulations that we've talked about. Disapproving would be obviously just rejecting. So I'm just gonna do a quick roll call. Sarah.
Approve.
David.
All approve.
Jamie,
I'm approving based on the notion that if we deny, they'll get whatever they want anyway, so. Sure.
Amanda,
Yes.
okay, and yes, my vote is a yes for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my stipulations. Okay, so applicants and Joseph, please pay attention to this. So cellar level only, 318 Grand Street, liquor, wine, beer, and cider, bowling alley. With the kitchen open and serving food within 1 hour of closing. Opening no later than 5 p.m. Monday to Friday and 3 p.m. Saturday, Sunday, and closing by 2 a.m. all nights. No outdoor space. Will employ a doorman security personnel. We have details on that below. They'll install soundproofing, closed fixed facade, no live music, no promoted events, no event with a cover fee, no scheduled performances, no more than 3 DJs per week, no more than 24 private parties per year. They can have recorded music, but not live music. No alterations without coming back. No pub crawls or party buses, no boozy brunches. If they have a happy hour, it must end by 7. No wait lines outside. Staff responsible for ensuring no loitering. They will only have an entrance on Orchard Street that goes directly to the cellar. Will never use the ground floor for any operations. It will only check IDs inside the establishment to ensure that there are no queues in the street, and security guards will ensure that no patrons congregate outside the entrance when leaving. It will direct all patrons exiting to smoke to Grand Street.
The only edit, Michelle, is instead of calling this a bowling alley, can we categorize it as a lounge with bowling? I don't want there to be any kind of perception that, you know, we sold you a bowling alley and we gave you only 2 lanes.
Sure.
Otherwise, it looks good to me. Guys, look good.
Yes, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, any comments from the committee before I go to a vote? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. All right, committee, we're voting on number 12, 318 Grand Street. I already did the vote basically, so I'll go first. Michelle, yes. David, sorry, I
Yes.
caught my bite. Amanda,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
who's next on my screen? Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, 5 yeses. This motion carries. We'll send you the stipulations. Please sign and return by Friday.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, appreciate
Bye,
it.
citizen.
Thank you. Okay, the next one I'm gonna go to is okay, the next one I'm gonna do is 23 Avenue A. This is the one that we kicked back to committee from the full board. I believe I saw the applicant here, Mike, there we go, and Frank. All right, I'm just gonna drop the application chat. Oops. Okay. So this is number 5, 23 Avenue A. Committee, I want to just make sure that you're able to open the resolutions I shared with you, right? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay. So as a reminder, this is, we heard this last month, we discussed at the full board meeting, but this is 23 Avenue A between East Houston and East 2nd, full on premises. They're asking now for closing at 1 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday and 2 a.m. Thursday to Saturday. The applicant has been previously licensed at multiple locations in New York, both of which had 2 a.m. closing all nights. 74 residents signed in favor, including 12 residents of 23 Avenue A. There are 13 full on premises liquor licenses within 500 feet. And just a reminder that the location was previously licensed for 10 years until 2018 was Yerba Buena, which closed at 12 a.m. all nights, and then was a coffee shop until recently that closed. Okay. Committee, I know we're the ones who kicked this back, so if anyone wants to speak on what their thoughts are now.
Michelle, I can start, and I know Jamie also had contributed in full board. The reason I have recommended that we bring this back is because, I thought that the operator did a really good job of mobilizing support for the business and really showed that he was coming in good faith and brought a lot of experience. And then I know Jamie kind of opined further just on the intention of our guidance and how it applies here. So I don't know, Jamie, if you want to just clarify that for the group. I'm happy to also say it.
I think we were, thank you. I think we were talking about the difference between never licensed and not currently licensed. I understand the logic of, trying not to bring new liquor licenses. I understand the previous applicant was in a commercial space, so that makes sense to me. But I worked on this block forever. I live on this block forever. That is and has been a bar restaurant. It was a coffee shop for a little while that didn't even get the chance to come before us for their beer wine that they were going to do because of COVID. And I don't think it should fall under the same restriction, so to speak, as we generally place for previously unlicensed. I think it's nuanced, but I think that's a significant difference.
Okay, thanks both of you. David, I see your hand. David, go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't changed my position. I think that we should deny this. And I think we can probably make it a little stronger by explaining the number of licenses currently on that block, which I believe is 7. It's unfortunate it got back. I was not in top form at the last meeting. We should have had a vote at the full board as to whether to ask the applicant if they would be willing to come back. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. So unfortunately, we have no input from the board about this whatsoever. We had a motion and the applicant was asked and came back to committee. So all that is to say, don't feel like the board has told us that we really should be approving this. We need to be evaluating this based on the saturation in that area, which is substantial. And we can make it a little stronger than we had sent it last time by saying the number of licenses. I think that this is a little bit of a red herring about whether it was previously licensed many years ago, or whether it was currently licensed right now. It is a new license based on what's on the ground. There's no license there right now. There hasn't been for 4 years since pre-COVID. So that's what I hope the committee will decide to do. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I went on, according to the lamp map, there are 6 full on premises on that block. Okay. Anyone else in the committee? I think the only person who hasn't spoken is Amanda.
I think my position is because I think with the nuances that Sarah and Jamie brought up earlier makes sense to me. I do think that the COVID impact. Yeah. Sorry, my thoughts aren't very clear right now. But I guess I do think that okay. I don't have clear thoughts right now, but I think I am erring on. I agree with if it were previously licensed but currently unlicensed, I would be comfortable with it being licensed. If that makes sense.
Okay. Let's see if there's anyone here from the neighborhood. If you're here to speak on this item number 5, 23 Avenue A, please put your Zoom hand up and I'll recognize you in the order that I see you. Okay, the first hand I see is Bob. Bob, go ahead.
So, yeah, I've lived in the neighborhood for about 50 years, probably 40 years at 141 East 3rd Street. And this is our home. We like living here. This is where our friends are. We settled here because we like the diversity and the art. And maybe a couple of decades ago, we were happy to see a few restaurants move in because frankly, back then there weren't any. So we certainly enjoyed seeing a few bars come in. I like some of the restaurants that are in the neighborhood. I definitely frequent them. So the thing that is boggling my mind and things that you brought up is the density in that one block. I don't quite understand that with what, 6, now there's 7. It's just, this is, we're talking about obviously quality of life here. I understand, I get the business model, but, let me put this a little bit in perspective. In our block, which is just maybe 50 feet off of Avenue A, one of the owners on the 4th floor, it was driving him so crazy that at great expense, they decided to install double windows. They're facing south to block out the sound, because on the weekends, it's unbelievable. I'm an audio engineer by trade. I measured the sound. I'm up on the 6th floor and I get frequent peaks of about 90 decibels. And it just, and when I don't get peaks of 90 dBs, I can hear 75 dBs, which is normal conversation, which means I can hear people pretty clearly talking down on the street. And when they're singing and just going crazy, it's certainly, it's out of control. The other thing that I want to bring up is the added wrinkle now with the lack of parking spaces. People are using our block as kind of like a holding pen. They drive their cars in there, they pull up, they park, and they hang out there basically playing their radios and the
Bob, if you could wrap it up, that'd be great, please. Thank you.
the subsonic bass. It's really crazy. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up. I just want to say this, that I don't expect that the owners can control the debauchery of their patrons any more than I can teach my cat to jump through a hoop of fire, though I understand that there are cats that can do that. But if it's a decision to try, first of all, not to give them a license for this, or to control the time that they close, I'm definitely all for that. I really, I'd like to get our, the quality of life in control, in check in our neighborhood. So,
okay, thank
Thanks.
you. Patrick Kaczynski, do you want to go?
Yep, that's fine. So I'm actually quite in favor of the liquor license here and just the use of this space. I've lived here for a good amount of time now. I live on the 1st floor, so if anyone would be affected the most, it would probably be me because I live in the building on the 1st floor. I do know that the block is saturated. However, the business model related to this restaurant seems to be quite different. I've met Mike multiple times. He's an extremely nice person to us, and he asks us many questions about what would bother us, which is not something you usually get from business owners here. First of all, the spot is vacant at night, especially. A lot of people tend to loiter around this vacant spot more so than if it was an open restaurant that had somebody controlling the door. It is completely covered in graffiti, and there's a huge homeless problem in terms of people sleeping in front of our own door that we can't even get out sometimes at night. Furthermore, people will congregate there because it's quiet and no one will kick them out, as the unit next to it is also vacant. Furthermore, the entire block is mostly bars solely, except for the corner. I forget what the name of the restaurant is on the right corner on Houston. So this place is supposed to offer food, which is something we don't actually have on our block. And then on top of that, I just find that it would be a nicer use of space that is not just a bar/club vibe that we have everywhere else. And the residents here can actually have a little bit more use of a place where they could go sit down and eat. And I don't believe that it would actually add to the issue of noise around here, being that it already is extremely loud on our block. And I don't think a restaurant would make it any worse. I don't think there's a loitering issue associated with a bar/restaurant. Even if it just serves bar food. The corner is already saturated as is, but then I don't think that would change at all if we were to face, a smaller venue whose primary goal is not to be a party space. And that would probably be all for me.
Thanks. Okay, Susan, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. There's supposed to be 3 people from my building tonight. I don't know what happened to the other 2, but my neighbor next door said it was out of control last weekend. But as Patrick said, he lives there, and as he's saying, it's very loud. CB3 policies for saturated areas conform to the SLA law for areas that have 3 or more full licenses. So, the SLA is very liberal in interpreting public interest, but for Avenue A as well as Hell Square, they have been upholding. So when the SLA actually upholds denials, it's making a statement. The specific criteria the SLA looks at are the number, classes, character of the other licensed premises, the effect on vehicular traffic, and the impact on the noise level. This is about what's outside, not what's inside. It's about bringing more people on the block. You should not be looking at, and not one of the things you look at is not whether the guy is nice. I have met him, he is very nice. And so it's about saturation of more cars, more people. This is the epitome of a saturated area with 6 on one block. Roberta's is also coming, which will give them food. And I can say within 1 block radius, there's plenty of food to serve people. Because the blocks north of this are at least 3 blocks are very quiet. After about 11:30 on weekends, the noise just carries. I'm on the 11th floor. The noise really carries. It's not people talking, it's screaming. It's when people have been drinking too much. It's screaming, yelling, drinking. It's a bro crowd. There are lines outside. There are traffic congestion. I haven't noticed it on 3rd Street, but I have on Avenue A. It just backs up. There's horns and there's blasting radios. You have to also think of the people that have lived here and their concerns. The previous licensed business was a restaurant, as you said, that closed by 12 at the latest. It's not comparable to this at all. And it was here from 2012, 2018. It's now on Perry Street. And as far as COVID is concerned, I just got off from 5 to 6 on a very difficult meeting I was with residents on Avenue C and the bar they live above. And the bar owner said, Avenues B and C since COVID have exploded. There's lines all over. His point was they weren't the worst. So they're not suffering from COVID anymore in this area. We're changing neighborhood. We have to accommodate newcomers as well as long time. And our board does that very well. Last month, and Patrick said they want places to go to eat, places to go after work. There are plenty, again, within a block, there are plenty of these innumerable places to go.
Susan, can you wrap it up?
I will wrap it up. I was doing some education in this too, because I think a lot of the members don't understand what we are and are not supposed to be looking for according to SLA criteria. Last month, in the face of many residents against an application, we said that with an entrance move to 3rd Avenue, which is very commercial, we used our expertise to say there will not be impact on the residents. This month, we're looking at a place that already has an existing problem. As the person who deals with all the complaints to an extreme degree, I'm going to tell you, the issue is what the SLA looks at. The issue is bringing more people to the block, bringing more cars, bringing more Ubers, and bringing more people. There is a synergy between restaurants and bars. They go from one to another. I'm not concerned about what's inside. I'm concerned about what's outside.
Okay, thank you. Chloe, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Lauren Andrews. I also live in 23 Avenue A above the restaurant space. So me and my roommates are all in our low to mid 20s, and we think it will be great to have the restaurant traffic to bring more people to the area, especially late at night with the empty spaces next door to the apartment. It can feel slightly unsafe due to being quieter at times. Like Patrick said, there tend to be people lingering around the entrance, making it difficult to enter the building sometimes. And we feel that having a restaurant will bring more foot traffic and will help us to feel safer, especially when coming home later at night. So we're in full support of opening of this restaurant, as we also don't believe it'll bring any additional noise, since it's a restaurant and will be closing earlier than the other bars next door and around the corner.
Thank you. Amanda, go ahead.
I think I want to make a motion to see if we can change the closing hours to be midnight to align with Yerba Buena, which was the previous establishment.
Second.
Okay, hold on, I'm just looking for a piece of paper so I can take notes. All right, so committee, there's a motion on the floor to change the resolution, the hours to 12 a.m. Amanda, just to be clear, that'll be all nights.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone from the committee have any comments about that? Questions?
Will the applicant accept that?
Oh, hi. How's it going? My name is Mike. I'm the applicant there for 23 Avenue A. So I would be fine with if it was Sunday through Wednesday, 12 midnight, and perhaps 1 a.m. for Thursday through Saturday, if that's something the committee would like to consider. Thank you.
David, go ahead. Thanks, Mike.
I think we need to do it midnight. I mean, otherwise we are increasing the liquor license load on that block above what it was 4 years ago. Thank you.
Okay, Jamie, go ahead.
I support 12 and 1. It remains being closed. It remains still being the least impactful business on that block, even with those hours.
Okay. All right, well, then let's take it up and down on the 12 a.m. and then if someone wants to make the motion for the 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Okay. All right, so just we're voting on whether you want to change to 12 a.m. all nights. Jamie.
No.
Amanda.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Sarah.
No.
I'm gonna vote no, because I think that it'll be a de facto denial, and if we want to do a denial, we should do a denial. So I'm gonna make a motion to do, so that motion fails. So I'm gonna make a motion to do 12 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday and 1 a.m. Thursday to Saturday, and then we can discuss that. So is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay. Okay, David, go ahead.
So, well, obviously I'm going to support voting yes on this, but let me ask about what you said about basically an outright denial. If it would still say, let's say they didn't sign the STIPs, you know, that maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Let's say they did not. Then it would say that we don't approve unless they had signed these STIPs, which they didn't. Isn't that enough input to the SLA that they pick up the STIPs, if not every single one of them, largely intact.
No, I'm saying that I think we should make a decision about what we want to do. If we want to like outright, like I personally don't think it would make sense to pass a resolution that they're not going to sign the stipulations. Like, I think we have enough reason to deny it if we want to deny it outright, if that makes sense. And we should do that rather than like leaving it up to the applicant to decide. So we don't have to like.
We repeatedly do exactly this. You know, sometimes we ask if the applicant will agree and sometimes we don't. And I assume that many times, in fact, I see it happen at full board, many times when they actually have not. I mean, I'm trying to educate myself because I really want to get better at what I'm doing here.
Yeah. I just, from my personal feeling, I think that it would be, I don't really understand the point of passing stipulations that they're not going to sign, I guess, because like we've gone back and forth so many times on here. That's my feeling. And also that 1 hour is not like 3 extra hours a week is not gonna like make or break the Avenue A. That's my feeling. So I think that like if we want to deny it outright for all the reasons that, you know, saturation and everything, I think that that's one thing. But like denying over 3 hours a week doesn't like that just I don't really understand the point of that as a committee, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm not being clear, but I'd like us to kind of make a decision about what we want. So it's clear.
Let's vote. I mean, unless there are more committee comments.
Frank, if you have something to say that's relatively brief, that'd be great.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm to David that the applicant will sign 12 and 1, along with the other steps that normally you put on apps.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a motion that I made the motion, we're discussing that. If there are any other discussion on this motion of 12 and 1 from the committee, anyone else? Okay, so let's go into a vote. Obviously, I'm a yes. David?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna change this in the doc. 1 a.m. Closing by 12 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday and 1 a.m. Thursday to Saturday. Okay. Okay. Committee, any other things that we want to mess around with? I feel like we've beaten this dead horse super dead.
For this application?
We had it, you were in here last month, Jamie. We talked about it last
Yeah,
month.
sure. We were at full board. I think this is done, surely.
Yeah. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
Sorry.
You can see my unwellness is permeating my brain space too. Okay, so let me just share the this quickly, the resolution quickly. Okay. Pending C of O. Basically read through all of this. Then for residents, I'm going to flush these parts out just so that's my notes. And then the hours of operation, 12 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday and 1 a.m. Thursday to Saturday. Okay, I'm going to stop this and then share the step so we can go through. Okay. Do you still not have a LLC, Frank?
Yeah, we do. Mike, I'm sorry. Do you remember? I don't remember the name, Mike. Oh, yeah. It's 23 Ave Bar Corp.
Okay. Liquor, wine, beer, and cider, 23 Avenue A, kitchen and serving food within 1 hour of closing, 12 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday, and 1 a.m. Thursday to Saturday. They do outdoor, close by 10 p.m., although I don't really know if that's possible over there because parking at the bus lane. They'll employ doorman security, close front and rear facade doors by 10 p.m. No DJs, no live music, no promoted events, no event with cover fee, no scheduled performances, no more than 5 private parties. They'll play ambient recorded background music only. No alterations without coming back. Oh, are you having a happy hour? 7 p.m.
Mike? Yes, Michelle, 7 p.m.
Okay. We'll not have wait lines outside. We'll have a staff person responsible for ensuring no loitering. Look good?
It's just a small thing.
Yeah.
The name of the place. There's no spaces between the 3 words, and the
Oh.
A's, and the A is a small A.
Like that?
Yes. And
Okay.
bring the corp over too.
Oh, it's all one word.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Look good?
Mike, you there? You have to say it looks good, Mike, not me.
He's just reading.
I think he's at the wiggle room.
Wait, is it 23 Ave A Bar Corp or 23 Ave Bar Corp?
Oh, 23 Ave Bar Corp.
Okay.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I had myself muted there all along. I beg your pardon. That looks fine to me. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Okay, moving this to a vote in that case. Thanks everyone for their patience as we negotiate on this. All right. David,
Abstain.
Amanda,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yep.
Michelle, yes. Okay, thank you. We'll send you steps to sign. Return by Friday, please.
Thank you for all the time you guys put into this. It's much appreciated.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna do 4, 6, 7 in order. All right, is the applicant for number 4, Betty, here? Hi,
We're here.
okay.
This is your coming soon.
Dropping the application in the chat.
Mhm.
All right, folks, this is an application, an alteration, I should say, for an existing full on premises liquor license at 193 Henry Street between Jefferson and Clinton Street. They're asking for close at 2 a.m. all nights. They are currently closing at 12 a.m. I believe we approved them in August 2021. The one question that I had was about how late are you planning on serving food?
Probably till about 11 or 12. It depends on if we're able to stay up until 2, we'll probably stay up serving food till 12.
Okay. Are you, so a compromise that we sometimes make is that you can close the kitchen, but you still have some food available until later than that. Would that be amenable?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, okay. So I'm gonna say, a full kitchen, open until 12 a.m.
I'm gonna say 11 just to be safe.
Okay. PM serving food during all hours of operation, and you can change the menu past 11 p.m. Okay.
Okay.
That can be just the intent there, so you understand, is that we like to what food soaks up alcohol, I guess, is that, and so having some, yeah, having some mitigation there.
And when that first came up, it said from 10 to 2, and we wanted to go from 9 to 2, but I don't know if it matters the morning part.
Well, I think that your posted hours are 10 a.m. so you can open at 9 a.m. but if you aren't always going to open at 9 a.m. it's better to have 10 a.m. as your legal start point.
Right. Well, what we had is we had to be open by noon. So we could open really any time before that is what the way, and that was actually the committee's idea.
Yeah.
In the original, which was really helpful. But my question, this is for the SLA. So what I wanted was permission to have serve alcohol from 9 to in case who knows, someone wants to drink at 9 in the morning, you never know.
You're allowed to do that before. It's
Okay.
just that you have to be open by whatever time is at the beginning of your license. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay, so that's the only change, right? Is the hours of operation?
That's it.
Okay. Committee, just a reminder that we had already approved the same music. It's a bi-level space. We allowed for acoustic live music in the basement. I live around the corner from here. I've never known it to be an issue. It's always been quiet. I walk my dog past here every morning, which maybe not the noisiest time, but I do look down on Henry Street. So,
But have you come in to eat? That's what I want to know.
I have, yes.
Oh, good. Did you like it?
I'll reserve for bias reasons, but I've been there more than once. I'll put it that way.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
Okay. Any questions from the committee about this alteration? David, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd be happier if they were going to continue to serve food. I mean, that's the last 3 hours of the license they're asking.
No, they're gonna do food at all hours.
What kind of food? Can we put something on that? I mean, when they were here last summer, they made a big deal out of the fact that they were going to run a bakery. And I've been there. Actually, I've enjoyed the place. I have no problem with it, but I would like to see them continue to serve food. And so if food means chips, that's what have we used language elsewhere, Michelle? Something like, I don't know, light fare. Like, some places will say, well, we'll have a kitchen and we can produce salads or something. But it should remain like a restaurant, not a bar after 11 p.m. I would prefer that.
I mean, I don't think we can stipulate the type of food that they serve after they close the kitchen. I mean, sometimes we've gotten like, it's like a late night menu, I think is pretty common.
Well, we could have like our hummus and pita available and like the soft pretzel, something like that.
And the cauliflower and the
Yeah,
barbecue
like
noodles.
some small plates, like dips and pita.
Okay.
Sure.
Good compromise.
So you can say we'll have small plates available late all night.
Okay, small plates.
Thank you.
The kitchen. This is. Okay. Until close. So I'm just gonna say, David, with the full kitchen open until 11 p.m. all days, serving small plates after the kitchen closes until close. Until the restaurant closes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, anyone else from the committee have any comments, questions? Okay. I'm just gonna share my screen with the resolution. Okay, just to run through this quickly. they already have a license. All they're changing is that they're gonna be open till 2 AM. I expounded upon the food situation and the actual stipulation, so I'll show you that. And yeah, the only other difference from our old stipulations, you guys, is this, that outdoor dining must close by 10 PM and no speakers or monitors, which I know you don't have, you just have sidewalk tables, so. Yeah. And you can have happy hours at 7 PM. Everything else is identical from the past stipulations. David, are you still reading?
Well, I'm thinking,
Okay.
now I'm thinking like 2 AM all days. This is, I mean, Henry Street's, well, it's a mix of things, but I believe it's zone residential. 2 AM all nights. There's, I mean, gentrification is headed in that direction for sure. But it's not, this would be the latest license in the area.
I mean, there aren't any other commercial spaces on that block, so there's like besides the gallery next door.
Well, they're directly across from the back.
It's a
of the-
hospital, it's Gouverneur, which is not a hospital, it's like a,
You know,
it's a doctor place, it's closed at night, so.
yeah, no, I understand that.
I mean, Lem Font's on the other corner.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm not hearing anyone else on the committee speak up with ideas on this.
Yeah, I'm not that, yeah. Okay. I'll just share the stipulations. Okay, so just to reiterate, here's the stipulation about the kitchen with a full kitchen open until 11 PM all day, serving small plates after the kitchen closes until the restaurant closes. Opening no later than 10 AM and closing by 2 AM. That's a mistake. Liquor, wine, beer, and cider. Okay, sorry, never mind. Everything look good, applicant?
Yeah, seems to, yep.
Okay. Okay, all right, moving this then to a vote, alteration for 193 Henry Street, number 4. Amanda,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Michelle, yes. Okay, this motion carries. We'll send you the stipulations to sign and return by Friday.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Laura Sewell, I see that you're on. The 171 Avenue A is not on. Just if you hear me. Okay. All right, the next we're gonna go to is number 6.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. We heard. Thanks
Okay.
very much for letting us know.
Yeah, no problem. I saw you joined late, so I just want to make sure you knew. All right, number 6, 27 Division Street, Dim Sum Palace. Is the applicant here?
Yes,
Hi, Sherry. Is your client here?
yes, yeah.
Okay. I thought that Sam Yan is the applicant.
Yeah, I'm the manager, so Sam, he feels sick today, so that's why I cannot go for the meeting.
Okay, so our rules are that the applicant has to be here, the person who's going to sign the stipulations.
Okay.
Can he not join on Zoom?
I think he feels sick, maybe he got COVID, so that's why he said he feels so uncomfortable. So that's why I represent him.
I understand. It's just that our rules, unfortunately, we can't, because we need to hear from the applicant themselves, the person who will be responsible for the license. I mean, I can go to the next person and you can see if he's willing to join tonight. Otherwise, we're gonna have to ask you to come back next, or we'll have to ask him to come back next month. Sorry that I didn't realize that you've been waiting, that was the case.
Okay, so can you just call the next person? I will call him.
Yeah, I'll call the next person. Yep.
I will call him. Thanks.
Okay, the next item is number 7, 36 Market Street. Hi.
Yes, here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here too. Good
Okay.
evening.
Oh, I see. All right.
Just say-
Dropping the questionnaire in the chat. Oops. Okay, so this is an application for 36 Market Street, wine, beer, a wine bar. It's not previously licensed. 29 residents signed a petition in favor. He's asking for 2 a.m. all nights, with food served until 12 a.m. Just a reminder, committee, that we can't deny a wine beer license. The only thing that we can do is work on the stipulations. The SLA can't deny it. So my question would be, are you willing to serve food until close? Because I think it's like food, it's not a kitchen, right? It's just like charcuterie, cheese and stuff. So would you be willing to serve until close?
Yes, exactly. So mostly it's cheese and charcuterie and 6-7 other plates, small tapas type of plates. And I'm willing to have cheese and charcuterie plus the olive oil, and the bread by the time the wine is served.
Serving, I'm gonna say serving in cheese and charcuterie and during all hours of operations.
Yes.
Excuse me, Michelle?
Yep.
There's an error on the application. It says DJ. That's not correct. I just want to make sure you know.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Sorry, let me change this. All right, anything from the committee?
This is pretty cut and dry, right?
I think so. Anyone here from the community to speak on this item, number 736 Market Street? Dennis, go ahead.
Yes, we have a real restaurant, the Golden Diner, here at 40 Market Street building. And that's, of course, Mr. Fong's, as the board said, they misrepresented themselves to the board as being a restaurant. And when the owner called me when I was working out of state, he told me he wanted to put a restaurant. He had no mention of liquor whatsoever, any kind of alcohol. But of course, you know, at any rate, it's already been said, Fong's is still a problem here for everybody. And everything's already been said. Traffic at night, the people are coming and going to Fong's in the, what do you call them, taxis and the, you know, in the paid cars. And we can't sleep here at night. I woke up all hours of the night. At 4 o'clock in the morning, our day starts here. The noodle company over here starts loading out noodles at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so some of us, we used to start work at 4 in the morning also. And I probably still will be. So, you know, I don't know if any of you on the board have ever lived under these kind of conditions. My wife is elderly, and the retaliation things that have already gone on here is criminal. I call it elderly abuse. But the landlord has no incentive to control them either, because he has a good turnover of tenants. And matter of fact, the authorities trying to enforce the health problems here warned the landlord, and nobody cleaned up the rat excrement out here. This is at the side door, Mr. Fong's.
Dennis, if you can wrap it up, that'd be great.
Okay, well, anyway, we're over the problems here already. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, anyone from the committee? Jamie, go ahead. Jamie, go ahead.
Sorry about that. My computer just decided to go nuts.
You're good.
To the gentleman who I've lost on screen, who just spoke, I do understand what he's saying. I want to make it clear that, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have the right to deny this at all. So it's beyond our ability to make any major changes in terms of that beyond hours of operation, and they're only asking for midnight. So
They're asking for 2 a.m.
Oh, 2 a.m. Damn, did I read that wrong? Okay.
No, it said food until 12 a.m. originally. That's probably what you saw.
Got you. Okay.
David, go ahead.
Yeah, so to clarify a little bit about this, what the SLA is compelled to issue a license because it's beer and wine. We should not just deny it because that is a meaningless gesture. That is just a throwaway because it cannot have any influence. I don't think that we would be forbidden from denying it, and I would not encourage us to do that. So, just because the language has been slipping toward this, like we are not allowed to do something. We absolutely shouldn't because the SLA is not allowed to.
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, we shouldn't, there's no point in denying it because it will get approved. Okay, anyone else from the committee?
I'll bring up 2 a.m. again. I mean, is that why it's coming to us as a beer?
Yes.
Because it's past midnight.
Midnight, yeah, exactly.
Radio, okay. 2 a.m. all days.
That's what he's asking for, yes.
Yeah, well, it'd be better if it was midnight most of those days.
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we make it midnight, from Sunday through Wednesday nights. See what the committee thinks about that.
Is there a second for that motion? I guess not, David. Worth a try. Okay. Anything else from the committee? Okay. Just gonna quickly share the resolution in that case. Oops. Okay. Just basically everything that I read already. Just change this. Okay, any amendments, committee? Stop sharing this. Share the stipulations. Find my screen. Okay. This is an application for wine, beer, and cider at 36 Market Street. Closing by 2 a.m. all day is food served during all hours of operation. They have any outdoor dining closing by 10. Close all rear, front and rear facade doors. No DJs, no live music, no promoted events, no event with choreography, no scheduled performances. Play ambient recorded background music only. They will not seek a change in class or any other alterations without first coming back here. If they have a happy hour, it ends by 7. No unlimited drink specials, no pub crawls or party buses, no wait lines. No staffer, and a staffer is responsible for ensuring no loitering, and you can contact the license holder here. Nadar, does that look good?
Yeah, that looks good. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm gonna move this to a vote in that case. Michelle, yes. David,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As motion carries, we'll send you stipulations to sign. All right, Sherry, was your client able to join?
Thank you,
Yes.
committee.
Yes, he said he's, hello, let me check. Yeah, he said he's coming. I think he's inside. The name under him is Wilson.
I don't see, okay, while Sherry calls, I'm gonna feed my dog. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Sherry, any luck? Is this Vincent? Is that him?
Hello.
Hi, Sherry, that's your client?
Yeah, I'm Sam Yan.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining. Okay, let's go this quickly. Okay, committee, I am back. Sorry. Oh, wait, I must not wait for Amanda watch by and Jamie. I think this will be a quick one. Sarah and Jamie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay. Oh, okay, Amanda's back. All right, this is an application number 6, 27 Division Street for full on-premises liquor license between Bowery and yeah, the Manhattan Bridge, I guess. Forsyth, or the end of Forsyth. There are 5 full on premises liquor licenses within 500 feet. This was previously Sunshine Seafood Restaurant, which had a restaurant wine license. This applicant, I should start by saying that we actually approved a very almost identical application for this applicant just a block away about a year ago. But sadly there was a fire that totally destroyed the premises, so I assume that that is why they are coming back to us now. So this applicant holds many other licenses, 3 full on premises, including 1 on 2nd Avenue, which is Dim Sum Sam, and then a few other around Manhattan and restaurant wine licenses. We did not receive any emails about this. There were 9 residents who signed a petition in favor. They're asking for 2 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. No outdoor space. And I just, this is like I assume this is just a dim sum hall, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any questions from the committee?
No.
This is my fed dog. Anyone from the committee have any questions about the application? No.
Is there anyone from the public? Have we gotten to that point yet?
No,
I'm
I was
curious.
just I don't think that there is, given who's on the meeting right now, but I'll put it out there. Is there anyone here to speak on this item number 6, 27 Division Street? Did you talk, I'm just curious, did you talk to anyone in Confucius Plaza? I mean, I saw some signatures, but any feedback from Confucius Plaza, which is across the street for those who don't know? No. Okay, just so everyone knows, there's like a, oh wait, there's a school across the street. Isn't there, Sherry? Wait, you're on mute, Sherry.
Yes.
Sherry, you're on mute if you're talking. She's talking, right? Sherry, you're on mute.
Oh, Shelly's not, Shelly's not on the line.
She is, but she's on mute.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm sorry. Yeah. So that did has a school just about 200 feet away. But that's why we didn't apply for the full liquor. We only apply for the beer and wine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I screwed that up.
It's
So
not full liquor. Mhm.
okay, okay. Sorry, that's my fault. Thank you for clarifying. Should have known that.
Wait, so now I do have a question. Yeah, it is across from Confucius Plaza. It's a pretty wide street. It's actually a very wide street.
And it's next to the Manhattan Bridge.
Right, right. And it's a 4 a.m. license. Now, it's not like, it's not there. Actually, there may be people living in that building. Are there?
No, so above us, there's association. Okay, so it's for office use. There's no residential above us. There's only 3 floors. So the first floor we rented as restaurant, and the second floor is Dong An Association. And the third floor they rent out, I think, for some dancing classes. Yeah, for adults. So there's no residential.
Okay, and I'm struggling to, maybe you can just answer this, Michelle, or applicant.
Yeah.
So it's 2 a.m. and then 4 a.m. on the weekends, and it's food throughout. It's going to be a dim sum, like a nighttime dim sum then with beer.
Are you planning to have events? Is that like weddings or something? Is that why you're staying up until 4 a.m.?
Yeah, because yeah, you just mentioned we have a restaurant across the street a year ago. So because a lot of our customers, they would like to find the food. So in the early morning, actually. So they complain in Chinatown, it's changed a lot. So when they go outside, almost all the restaurants got closed and they can hardly find any food in the late light. So that's why for us, we're doing dim sum. We provide fresh handmade dim sum the whole day. So that means when the customer goes to our restaurant, they can have the fresh dim sum anytime, even in the late light. Yeah, because for Chinatown, when you go outside right now, it's all dark. That's not good for the labor.
Yeah, David, I'm personally not concerned also because it's like so commercial there and it's right next to the bridge and like.
Right, I'm fine.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? Okay, I'm going to share the resolution. Mochi has decided to be very scared of whatever's going on outside, which is why she's sitting up here. Okay. As we said, wine beer license, 27 Division Street. Previously, restaurant wine for Sunshine Seafood Restaurant. This applicant was approved for full on premises just down the street on Chatham Square until there was a fire, and he's a license holder many times over around Manhattan, including in this district. 2 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 4 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Just going to read through the stipulations now. Okay, so this wine, beer, and cider, 27 Division Street. food during all hours of operation, as Sherry told us. 2 a.m., 4 a.m., no outdoor space, closed fixed facade, no DJs, no live music, no promoted events, no event with a cover fee, no scheduled performances, ambient recorded background music only. They will not do any alterations without coming back to us. No happy hours, no unlimited drink specials, no pub crawls, no wait lines, staff person responsible for ensuring no loitering. Sherry and Sam, does that all look good?
Yes.
Great. Okay, committee, I'm gonna move this to a vote. 27 Division Street, wine beer license. Michelle, yes. Amanda,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, great. This motion carries. We will send the stipulations to you to sign and return by Friday.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next item is number 10, 178 Stanton Street. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Great.
My name is Samuel An. I'm here with Songjin An. Hi, guys.
Okay.
I'm the attorney.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So this application for 178 Stanton Street between Clinton and Attorney Street is a Kayateria seeking a wine and beer license. A certificate of occupancy of 68 people. Food, just confirming food served during all hours of operation.
Yes.
Okay. Did we get a petition from you?
Sorry, say that again?
Did we get a petition from you?
Yes, I did send a petition. I PDF and I've got about 15 names on it.
Okay.
Actually 18 names on it and with people in the same building signing it as well.
David, would you mind just quickly counting these? I'm sending it to you. They must have been, thank you so much. They must have been uploaded later today. Open until 1 a.m. all nights. Is that, oh, sorry. I think this is why I was confused. So the kitchen is open until 1 a.m., but you're serving food during all hours of operation. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So they're asking for 1 a.m. Are you only open Monday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday?
No, I'm sorry. We're open every day. From Sunday to Thursday, we're asking for a closing time of 1 a.m. and then Friday and Saturday, 3 a.m.
Okay. On Friday and Saturday. So opening no later than 5 p.m. all day is and closing by 1 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and by 3 a.m. Friday and Saturday.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I just looked at all the places and I don't see the thing that you were going to send me. What it was another place that I haven't.
Oh,
got.
Signal.
Signal. Oh, okay.
Here, don't me to DM you. I'll
No,
send
I can pick it up from Signal. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so just confirming, kitchen is open till 1 a.m. all days, and then food served all hours though.
Yes. Food will be served at all hours and kitchen will be open until closing time.
Okay. All right. Okay, anything I missed?
I just want to point out that this used to be a licensed premises for several years. I was able to look up the liquor authority history, and I went as far as back as 2014, there was some kind of a Stanton Street kitchen. That was their DBA. And that was also a restaurant wine license. At some point, they were open until 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't quite remember what kind of place this was. I was never there. However, the one after that, they stipulated the most recent license holder stipulated to midnight closings. So I think that was also more like a restaurant, anything else. We're also a Japanese comfort food restaurant where a lot of people go in for conversations, and that's why we're requesting this late hours. There's no band. There's no. This is all background music.
Okay. David, is your hand up because you're counting, or you have a comment? No. All right, anything from the committee? I think that this was, if I remember correctly, a place called Bun Hut that closed, that sadly opened and closed during the pandemic. So I think it probably could not have opened at a more inopportune time. And I don't have the exact number on this on the petitions, but I see that there are people from the building that signed it. So thank you, David, for counting it. So I don't have any concerns about this. Anyone from the committee? And we didn't get any emails. Okay. I'm going to share the.
Talk about petitions just briefly.
Sorry, say it again, David.
I said, I'll be ready to talk about.
Oh, okay. No, Raj, you're good. I saw there were some, so that's enough for me to proceed. Okay, so wine beer, 178 Stanton between Clinton and Attorney. Kitchen open until 1 a.m. all night.
Can I just make one correction?
Sure.
Our DBA name is actually not Izakaya Tori Bar, but it's Toriya.
Yeah, P-O-R-I-Y-A.
Right. I sent that in. Oh, it is right. Okay.
No, Izakaya.
Oh, I'm sorry. The owner is saying that the name Izakaya should not be there. It's just Toriya.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
That happened afterwards, after I submitted the application.
No worries. Okay, committee, any amendments made to this?
Okay.
I'm just gonna hold this placeholder for the petition signatures, but as I said, there were some, so. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with the rest, with the steps. Wine, beer, and cider. Japanese restaurant, serving food during all hours of operation, kitchen open until 1 a.m. Sunday to Thursday, 3 a.m. Friday and Saturday. No outdoor space. Close all front or rear facade doors and windows at 10 p.m. every night. No DJs, no live music, no promoted events, no event with the cover fee, no scheduled performances. They'll not play ambient, they'll only play ambient recorded music. Not seek a change in class or any other alteration without coming back here. They'll not participate in pub crawls, no boozy brunches, no happy hours, no wait lines. Staff person responsible for ensuring no loitering. I realize I just reshared the same thing. And you can contact the owner here. Does that all sound right? Applicant?
Yes, it looks good to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. And I just have the A of Sea Corp on here, not anything else.
Michelle, if
Yeah.
the kitchen is open till 1 and they're serving food during all hours of operation, but they close at 3 on Friday and Saturday, aren't those differing things?
Yeah, it's like they'll maybe serve like just cold food. A late night menu, but if you wanted to expound upon that.
No, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding.
Oh, yeah. It's like a late night menu type thing that they don't want to, like, they want to clean the kitchen before they actually close type of thing. It's pretty common. David.
Okay, I don't know exactly what our criterion are, but there's 17 signatures. One is over on the FDR. I wouldn't even say it's the same neighborhood.
Okay, so 16
And then
residents.
16, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those are within 2 blocks or small blocks down there. They count, right?
Yeah,
You got it. So is that 16 total? Then
Yeah.
discounting the FDR drive. Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much for counting.
And a lot of them are exactly in the same building, which is, not nothing.
4 of them, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous.
And next door. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, any other changes, committee? Okay, I'm gonna move this to a vote in that case. Number 10, 178 Stanton Street, Amanda,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Michelle, yes, David,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. That motion carries. We'll send you steps. Okay, committee, now we get to go hopefully quickly on the next step.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great night.
much.
Okay, so I shared the district needs in that Google folder. Just a reminder that we okay. We already worked on these district needs. I don't know if anyone's in other committees, they are often a lot more in depth because the district needs are often like more tied to like what's going to happen at the city level. So we don't have that, obviously. But these are final. So we're just gonna vote on them. Let me just share it quickly. Yeah, just has like information about complaints and requests for enforcement. Sidewalk cafes used to be a thing, but obviously we don't have that anymore because of open restaurants. So yeah, they're basically exactly the same year over year. To which I'm going to move this into a vote then, because we've already worked on them. So we're voting on the district needs now.
1 sec.
Oops, sorry. Yeah. What, did I forget something?
I think just numeric, being a numeric kind of guy, there's a incorrect thing here. Percent change, that column, it's
Oh.
it says 208%. Is that it went from, I'm sorry.
It's
it went from
adding
5 to
164 and 44.
It's a 100% increase, or it's a doubling. It's just too late, but I object to the very vague language here. Percent change. Those percentage points, or is it?
I think it's
Not up 208%. It
Yeah,
is
it's up.
to what it was previously.
It's double what it was previously.
Right. And
How do you think that's calculated?
in July 19. So that was the last pre-pandemic year. Anyway, it's fine. Let's just put a percent in the paragraph above where it says in a 208 increase.
Should I mean, I can just mark this for Susan to read you the math.
But also, can you sum the percents of two different, like, they're kind of two different complaints?
Wait, is that what they did? Hold on, wait, 164 plus 44.
Should be 196 if they were doing the percent
But
difference.
it seems like that's the.
Do you think that they just added these two together instead of doing a percent change between these two numbers?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna put a comment in here. When I send it back, I'm gonna.
It's just generally for people to understand it, it's better if it's an increase. You could say a 99% increase, and people understand that. And then when it's 100%, you'd say it doubled.
Okay,
this case,
so I'm just
it
gonna
doubled,
say
and so
that
I
it
don't
looks
know why
like.
Yeah.
Looks like the percent change for total complaints was added instead of doing percent change from. I'll just
Okay, that's what happened. It's just interesting that it's almost exactly double.
Yeah.
And maybe.
I think also just showing directionality. I don't know if that's part of what you're saying, David, but there's no like plus or minus. You want to highlight that it's a plus. Because a percent change could be in
It's
either
a how much
direction.
of an increase. So, yeah, I would write the word increase afterwards, but we're kind of getting into the weeds here. But you have to correct the math on that. And then in the paragraph above where it says see chart below, there should be a percentage symbol there where it says a 208 increase. Of course, the number's down.
You mean a percentage?
Probably needs a percent, yeah. And but that also needs to be corrected along with this other one. And that's cool.
Of course, like the problem with, okay, hold on, because I don't have the master document for this. Okay, I'm just gonna put this in notes basically of the discussion.
It's all relatively minor. It is.
Oh, I know, I just can't,
Very strong point.
there's no point in adding it to that version we're looking at because I don't own the master copy of this. Susan does, so. I'm just taking the notes for this. So I have it, just so you guys know, I have it in my minutes to make these changes. I'll flag it for Ed and Susan. Okay.
Right, and the right number you might want to note is going to be closer to 100%, not 200% when they correct it.
Between,
well, the ratio of 10,000 to 5,000 is going to be roughly 100% increase, not 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love doing math at 8:30 at night. Okay.
All right. The curse of being in a, having studied applied mathematics with like a heavy dose of statistics.
Bill gets coming into handy. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. So barring that, given that we're going to make these changes, voting on the finalize the district needs with those minor changes. Going to do that now. Michelle. Yes. David.
Yes.
Amanda.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Now we're going to do our last item, which is potential changes to the SLA guidance that we did last year. Just to give context to the newer members for why we did this, it was to give applicants a heads up, basically, like here is how the committee has been acting. You should be aware of that so that you don't come and ask for something that's unlikely to be approved. And I should say that we cannot do like a moratorium, which this is not a moratorium. This is not saying that we will not approve these licenses, because legally we cannot do that. And I actually don't think that we should do that, because there are, whatever, there's always an edge case. And so this is just guidance to applicants. We send this guidance to every person who sends a 30-day notice to the community board. It's not just about saturation. You can see it's also about like making sure that you check the zoning, because we have applicants that come and want to do live music in a residential or ticketed events in a residential or whatever. So it's like the idea behind this is to try and make our lives easier and to help applicants have the information that they need to make an informed decision, right? So they're not just walking into the not knowing what the hell's going on. So this is designed to help everyone. As we've discussed, there was some, I think rightful discussion about this previously unlicensed locations, about what the actual intent of that was. So I see this as two options. One, we keep this as previously, we say currently unlicensed locations. So that would be like 23 Avenue A, which we just heard, which is like somewhere that had a license at one point, but hasn't for a while. The second one is never licensed locations. So that would be like the one that we heard for Grand Street. Never held a license, was a dentist's office, was a clothing shop, was a bookstore, whatever. I think that, and I think that the intent of this originally, and why we, just to give some history, why we approved that 210 Avenue A one, if you guys remember that they came back and we did like the same stipulations as we had approved last like last year, and then like with that whole kerfuffle with like that they were having financial difficulties. The reason why we approved that, even though it hadn't been licensed in 5 years, is because we were applying this guidance to only never licensed locations. So like a coffee shop, a dentist's office, whatever. And that was why we approved 210 Avenue A, even though it had not been licensed in 5 years, because it was kitted out as a bar. There's no way it was ever it's not gonna become a, like, barring like a VC fund coming in, it's not gonna become, you know, fill in the blank, not licensed location. Of course, we still have the right to deny something like that if we want to, but the intent of this is like, beware if you're applying for a never licensed location. There's almost no chance that you're gonna get it on somewhere like Upper Avenue, like Avenue A. That's my history there. David, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we should make it currently unlicensed. We should state this here.
Okay.
This is just, you know, this is letting them know that generally there would not be approved if that's the case. If it
Are you making a motion?
Unlicensed. Should wait.
Are you making a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that. I will open debate by saying that I think that that's a very slippery slope, because what do we consider currently unlicensed? There are like places that like maybe have like the restaurant closed in January and we get an application in February. And like the rule is that you have to like put that in safekeeping. I think it's a slippery slope. Like, what do we start to, how do we, like, I think that it defies the intent of the guidance, which is to give clear guidance. I think that we would have to like determine a time has been unlicensed for at least 2 years or something like that. And I don't know how we would decide that. I think that having guidance that says never license ever is much clearer. And that's the intent of this guidance, is to be clear.
Okay, I see. Maybe this isn't the time for it, but could you, yeah, I'm gonna ask anyway. Could you educate me again and the rest of the committee? How does the SLA deal with the situation where there is literally no license there, nothing in safekeeping, such as the one we just approved on Lower Avenue A tonight?
I think that what I understand is that often they don't see it as adding another license if it's been recently licensed.
Recently, like a few years ago.
Oh, like what is recently? That's sort of my
impression is that I've always heard that they always treat it as a new license, because this is going back way before any of you all were on the board. But there was a board member who referred to all of his bars as his retirement.
I think I know who you're talking about, but
yeah. Anyway, but so when he would talk, he would very intentionally and forcefully confuse the issue, because
was he trying to?
Oh, he was trying to increase the value of his licenses.
Right.
That's my interpretation of what was going on. But anyway, so we actually had asked the SLA, and they treat them all as they don't weight it for or against in that case. If there is a current license, then something else does happen, and that is you get a temporary license while they're considering whether to grant you a license. But I don't even think that actually weights their decision. That's just a little background. I believe that this is true.
Well, it also changes depending on the composition of the SLA. So if this was like 10 years ago.
It was longer than that even. Yes, it was more like 20, but yes. Okay.
So, I mean, just like from the past 2 years, like Susan has said, like the SLA is not going to think of this as a new license because it was like a bar like 6 months ago or a year ago even, you know, like, and so that's, I just think that it's a lot. There's a lot of utility for us to be very clear about what we mean, because I think we've seen that this committee has a little bit more like, there's a little bit more gray area when it comes to these types of licenses. And because it is guidance and not a moratorium, like it's just going to cause confusion, I think, to put in currently unlicensed. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what I I think it's just a lot clearer to say never licensed. That is very clear what that means.
Well, yeah, I think we made a mistake tonight. There's no secret. I abstained on the final vote. I mean, it's, there are a lot of bars. When there are a lot of bars, we ought to be trying to reduce the problem. Which is another intention of this guidance, although it says generally not be supported. It is true that we do have to consider each one, but the more consistent we are, the more the SLA is going to uphold our, our opinion, are going to follow our lead. So we should be careful about that as a slippery slope as well. But anyway, I'm sorry, you have seconded the motion to make it say currently, but you actually prefer that we should say the opposite. Which
Yeah, well, I just use this as an opportunity to argue against the motion.
Right, I understand.
I'm using parliamentary procedure for evil, David.
No, not for evil. That's absolutely not true. You can definitely second something if you're against it so that we can bring it to debate and, get a determination on it. That's perfectly valid.
Anyone else want to speak on this issue about changing it from previous unlicensed? You're saying, David, to make this currently unlicensed, right? Instead of previously?
I would agree that it is a very gray area if you say currently unlicensed. I'm curious in a situation such as I had with my own bar, where I was in a lawsuit with the landlord for 2+ years. The place was closed. Never mind, that doesn't make sense at all. So ignore that part. But yeah, my general approach is previously unlicensed, not currently unlicensed. I know too many scenarios that would bring up gray areas and unfair retribution isn't the word, but denials perhaps that wouldn't be justified.
Amanda, go ahead.
I think I would prefer the word never instead of currently unlicensed locations. I'm just thinking about how it pertains to like the residents in the area. If we are trying to, I think, David, I get your point about the current state of saturation, but also if the point is to not add additional licenses, and if it were previously licensed even 2-3 years ago, maybe a situation like Lower Avenue A that we just heard earlier, where if they, if there was something with COVID that happened and they couldn't get a license secured within the 3-year time, I think it would give more opportunity for businesses to open in that time. So I think that's my position.
Okay. Sarah, do you have a POV on this?
So just to clarify, Amanda, you're saying never licensed locations is what you would prefer to see.
We would not support a license in a never unlicensed place. So like a dentist
Never licensed.
office.
Never. What
So
you want to see is never licensed locations in saturated areas will generally not be supported.
correct. And the opposite of that would be currently unlicensed. So, right. So currently unlicensed could be what Mike Droney just applied for. Right. So it's currently unlicensed, but it previously was. So that's why for me, I was more okay with going back to Yerba Buena's operating hours, because at some point it had been approved to operate with a license until midnight. And it's not adding from my perspective, it's not contributing to a new location potential to have a liquor license because it had previously. A lot of double negatives.
Yeah, so basically never been licensed. A location where there has never been a license, something like that. David, go ahead.
Yes, I'll make one last attempt to sway people here. To be clear, my objective is to reduce the number of licenses. There shouldn't be more than 3 licenses per block. The SLA, the law that the SLA is following says no more than 3 licenses within 500 feet, which is 3 blocks radius, unless there's some public benefit, which is not well defined. There are too many licenses in this district. There are almost 1,000. I think there are 700 or 600. I just read it in the district needs. It is, I want to reduce the number of licenses, not like, oh, we hold it the same. I mean, I really think that on these terrible, terrible blocks, we need to try to reduce it. So anyway, just to be clear, it's like, to me, the guidance isn't, oh, we just want to make sure that things don't get worse. No, we want to desaturate, or I want to desaturate the really, really bad blocks. And I believe this is one of those really bad blocks.
David, sorry, if I understand your point of view, I really do. And if I felt that as either a member of the community board or a resident or a business owner in our community, that there was an alternative active approach that was being taken, I would be much more in support of your point of view. But as it is, I suffer both personally and professionally from empty storefronts, from locations that don't have active businesses in them, whether it be from the fact that my businesses get covered in graffiti all the time, or whether it be the fact that there are people shooting up in abandoned shacks on our old block. Like, I understand that we have to be here for a specific reason, and we have to look after both, residential and commercial interests. Like, we have to be balanced. I would support that. But if the option for me is empty, vacant storefront with the hopes that one day, through some sheer force of luck, something else will show up there, or a restaurant where we get to at least have a little bit of a finger in, on the scales of what they can do, I would rather be doing that. Anyway.
I wanted to add on to what Jamie is saying, and it's really helpful to hear your perspective as somebody who, owns businesses that are fabulous, Jamie. I certainly frequented them. I think we also kind of set this really extremely high bar for businesses to locate in our area. I understand, David, the kind of counterpoint in thinking about quality of life concerns. But it also just, I think thinking about trying to preserve the hours of the previously licensed businesses, we don't know necessarily what went into the decision-making for those stipulations. We don't necessarily know if that worked or didn't work. It sounds like from your perspective, it often didn't work in some of these saturated areas. And so for me, these precedents often kind of ignore the realities of what the business can bring. And, we put an enormous burden on them to bring something to our community at a time, especially when there are many vacant storefronts. And I agree with Jamie in terms of the impact it can have on businesses. And I also think the impact it just has on residents to not have services, not have places to go that make the neighborhood attractive.
Okay, so we are free to make those decisions on a case-by-case basis. We have to preserve that freedom because we can't have a moratorium. I can tell a story about the old moratorium, which led to the problem we're in today. But in this case, so one of the things up on Upper Avenue A, it was the 12th Street, I think, and it was last month, I'm pretty sure. There were residents making that argument that the corner is not safe for them and they wanted an active business there. Literally no one made that case tonight. No one down on Avenue A. One person said that they welcome it because it would bring more people. That is not the same thing as saying it's impacting my quality of life. And
I don't mean to interrupt, David, but there was a young woman who did speak about activating the vacant storefronts to feel more safe. Am I misunderstanding?
Lower Avenue A?
Yeah. She and her roommate, she spoke, for herself and her roommates.
Maybe she
But I will say experiencing the city.
And what I heard from that was like, bring more people. And I was like, that's exactly what the problem is. There is no lack of normal but drunk people walking around on that block. lived
Yeah,
around the corner
I
from-
think her perspective though is nuanced. It could be both and I think what she was sharing is something that I think a lot of, also as a young woman in my 20s, I can speak to. I think it's better to have more active blocks so that you can feel safe, that there are people, there are bystanders.
Right.
So I think that she's bringing her perspective.
I do see that. Yeah, there are 6 other bars there though. But in any case, let me pivot to talk about what happened when we did have a moratorium, which was extremely ineffective. It was terrible. This was long before I had any interest in being on the committee. But we had basically a form letter kind of for the SLA, which said, we're not even going to listen to this applicant because it's in a saturated zone. We had mapped out what we considered saturated zones. These were definitely among them. And there were a couple others. And the SLA always granted licenses with no restrictions because we essentially refused to hear them. And so they discounted our input completely. So let's just never get in that situation again.
And also we Article 78'd because it's illegal to do that, I think.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we got sued over it as well.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So
But
that's by the SLA.
It does seem like
Article
that's
78
not an option though, right? Like we're talking about options that none of those returns to what you're describing.
Correct. I'm just like trying to edge.
And I should say that this is just guidance. Like nothing's stopping the applicant from coming to us, even though we say this. I think I'm just going to return to what I said, which is that I think it's just a lot like clearer to say never like store like locations that have never held a license. That is very clear, and the intent of this guidance is to be clear. We can surely reject other licenses. This is not saying that we can't do that. It's not saying that we can't approve one in a in a unlicensed space. It's just like guidance to the applicants. Be thoughtful about where you're applying for a 4 a.m. license or something. That was the initial intent of this. This guidance was to try and head it off at the pass, basically. And I'm going to call a question on this motion, which is to remind everyone would say currently unlicensed locations. Any objections to calling the question? Okay. All right, so we're going to vote on this motion to change this to currently unlicensed locations. Amanda?
Yes.
Wait.
Sorry, can I take that back? Sorry.
Yeah, so if you want it to say currently, say yes. If you don't want it to say currently and stay the same for now, say no.
No.
Okay, Jamie?
No.
Sarah?
No.
David?
Yes.
Michelle? No. Okay, so the motion fails. I'm going to make a motion to change this to never been licensed locations. Does that make sense? For applications subject to the 500 plural, never been licensed locations and saturated applications for full on, I think we say this, full on premises liquor licenses in never been licensed locations and saturated areas will generally not be supported. Is that clear? I think that's clear, right?
It's clear.
Is it unwieldy though?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
You could just say like full on-premises liquor license applications in, yeah. I'm just, if you remove some
yes, that's better. I always do this to my staff. Look, see how bad I am right now.
Full on-premises liquor license.
For never been licensed locations.
You just moved the 4 from one place.
Well, no, I took out in.
Yeah. Full liquor license applications for never been licensed locations.
I am talking to myself because I was muted. It is an unwieldy. I'm like, why are they not listening to me? it's a unwieldy adjective in front of locations right now. Never been a licensed location. How about?
You just say never licensed?
No. Locations that have never been licensed. You do an adjectival clause and that reads clearly.
Yeah. Full on premises liquor license applications for locations that have never been licensed in saturated areas. God, I hate the way that it does track changes.
Yeah. You've deleted a space also after location, so put that.
Well, if I had simple markup, I'd be able to do this better. F you, Google.
I mean, you're gonna have to remove the space between previously and un.
Like that? Okay.
Yes.
I agree.
How many college graduates does it take to edit a Google Doc? Okay, so I'm making a motion to do this. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, opening debate on this topic, on this motion, I should say. Is there anything more to be said after we said what all we said before? All the things we said?
I prefer the previous one because of its ambiguity. So I will vote no.
Okay, thank you, David. Anyone else?
Seriously, I prefer that we scare licenses applicants away if possible.
No, I have my vote counter here. You're the yes on the last motion.
Yeah, I support this. This sounds great.
Okay.
Forgive my ignorance, but and this kind of speaks to a broader point, so I can also reserve it if I'm talking out of order. But like, where is saturated just defined? Because it's always been a question for me.
Yeah, it's not. That's why we say especially Avenue A and St. Mark's Place and the upper Lower East Side.
There's
So
no
that's
actual threshold number or like, because
I mean, basically everywhere, there's very, very, very few parts of the district that do not have 3 or more full on premises licenses. So we could add in heavily saturated areas.
no, I'm speaking to this again just from like a clarity perspective, and my broader point is I would like to state for the record, I did not think that Mike, the owner of the business that spurred this change, was a nice guy, and that's why we should approve this. I'm sure he was lovely, but my perspective is more that we are kind of looking at a very narrow criterion when we think about whether to approve these businesses or not. And I think there's a lot to consider, but as somebody who is new to the committee, it is correct that Amanda and I, who are both new members, need education, but we've not received training. We've not received a job description. So I did want to state for the record that some of these things, like what saturation means, the rules, things like that, we haven't actually been oriented to. So I did take a bit of an issue with that coming up in the meeting when I've not had the opportunity to learn more beyond the information given to me and available on the internet. And I don't think that my learning process should prevent others. Sorry, one more thing.
No, it's fine.
I think that my learning process should impede.
Oh gosh.
Oh no. But she was saying good stuff. It's true that we don't, nor I don't think we could create a criterion because every street is different. The width of the
I
street.
think that's sort of the problem too with like
the built environment, where you get equity. It's kind of like if there are problems there, it's like pornography, when you see it. Unfortunately, I mean, that is a joke.
Well, and also like if Sarah comes back, I'll explain.
Right.
That
problem though, in that we did call out boundaries or
some boundaries
here, and I'm not sure that we should have done that. Like I consider that Brandon Clinton or Lower Clinton is a problem even below Delancey Street.
Well, that's why we wrote especially.
Particularly, which I think is not the right adverb to use there, because it's almost like in particular, such as is a better phrase. It's just a clearer language to use for
Okay.
that thing. That would be a separate.
I see. Okay, well, that'll be a separate amendment, but I don't actually object to that. What I was gonna say is that what functionally happens, I wish that Sarah would come back, but what functionally happens is that lawyers ask, or representatives ask, or Susan, like when they get the guidance, they'll reply and ask about it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons why, well, yeah. Why it would be great to be able to do what Sarah
I
has.
see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I understand.
But we had defined in the old resolution, the moratorium had very particularly defined boundaries. It's possible we could do it, but it would be one more thing for the committee to have to maintain.
Yeah, I just don't think that we functionally can execute that. I don't want to functionally execute that.
I agree. I agree, and it is unfortunate. And as far as educating about things, I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I've been on the committee now for 3 years, and I was paying attention before, so I had the benefit of 2 decades before that. But I'm still learning things as well, and it's not like we can come up with a tight, using the language like job description. Unfortunately, it's never going to be that tight.
Yeah.
But it would be great if there was a way to ramp people up.
Yeah.
And so suggestions and assistance would be ideal.
Okay, I know that's only 3 of us now, but I'm gonna call the question on this motion I made. Are there any objections to that? I think we know how Sarah would have voted if she were here, so it's not, but just to reiterate, it'd be full on for application subject to the 500-foot rule, full on premises liquor license application for locations that have never been licensed in saturated areas will generally not be supported. That is how it will read. So, okay, I'm gonna put this to a vote. David,
No.
Amanda,
Yes.
Michelle, yes. Okay, so I'm going to.
I'm not used to losing this much in one night. I'm going to cry tonight.
Please don't. Please don't.
I won't.
Okay, and then do you want to make a motion to do such as?
Yeah, I think that will go a long way toward all applicants or many more applicants getting.
Yeah. I have no
provided
objection to
guidance.
that.
Yeah. Why don't we just say if there's no objections, adopt it? I mean, after you allow for some debate, we don't have to do voice votes.
Okay.
on little amendments.
Amanda, any problems with that?
No, no problems with that.
Okay. Okay, so we'll adopt that. Okay, and then this should be easier, which was just
Wait a second, scroll back. Did that say upper lower Avenue A?
no, upper Lower East Side.
Okay, never mind.
Sarah, just so you know, we adopted this amendment to do the one I made, and then the other one we did was the one David suggested to do such as instead of particularly.
Sounds good.
And then this one was just Susan and I were talking about this. We didn't have anything about administrative approval. So like this is sort of, I guess it's related to the issue of unlicensed spaces, but a lot of times what people will do is they'll ask for a wine beer license in a previously or a never been licensed space. Like we saw that tonight with that wine bar. That they'll like they'll come back after like a year or something and ask for an upgrade to OP plus extended hours. And so again, this is this is not to say that we can't give later hours. This is to tell applicants, like if your strategy is to ask for a wine beer license, administrative approval, you get 12 a.m. and come back in a year and ask for OP plus like 2 a.m. Like just be aware that that's like not gonna necessarily happen. That's the intent of this. Again, like telling applicants not to count on that strategy, basically. So it's not saying that we can't do it. It's like to help applicants make their decisions better.
What if, sorry.
I was gonna say the language isn't clear, but let's hear what you say, Sarah, first.
That's the, well, that's, I'm describing the intent. If we need to futz around with the language, that's fine. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think if we remove for and they, it'll become grammatically correct. But I think my concern is more like there's a lot of businesses that start with whatever they can get from us, right? And then that's not financially feasible as a business model. And so like, to me, that this process sounds like it could harm them if they, realize like, actually, we need to serve liquor to stay afloat, or we need to be open longer to stay afloat. I imagine, I'm guessing, Jamie.
Yeah, but this is actually exactly designed to try and help them not get themselves in a situation like that. Like if they like, I wish Jamie were on, but like, I think that at this point, first of all, I think you're fucking crazy, excuse my French, to open like a restaurant or a bar in New York. Like, I think you're absolutely nuts. But like, you hope that people go into it with eyes wide open. I don't think that a lot of people do. And so this is trying to like open their eyes. Like, you need to be very careful, like be very considerate about what you're doing. Because so many places do fail. So again, I think that this is like intent is to prevent those situations there. Obviously, like people are going to do it no matter what, but we're trying to like be upfront with them about the situation. Again, not saying that we can't approve someone's upgrade or whatever, but it's like to be like, guys, go into this with like your eyes, open.
I guess I just don't see why we wouldn't, like why we want to outright say we're not cool with that. We're not going to hear it out, because I just think things change and people should have an opportunity to come back. Like, I guess I just don't see the harm. It might not be approved, but that's a different situation than trying to discourage it from happening altogether.
Well, I think we're trying to tell them don't count on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we won't necessarily do it, but don't like go into this with your plan being, we're gonna like get a wine beer till 12 a.m. on like somewhere. Sorry, I should take a step back and say this was instigated by that Fishmarket application, which got a wine beer admin approval till 12 a.m. and then was coming back. They ended up having to withdraw because they messed up their petitions, but came back like literally a year later to ask for an upgrade plus 2 a.m. Like on Upper Avenue A. So it's like, think about this as if it's like the Eastville, like the Lower East Side, someone like tries to like get into an unlicensed space, get their wine beer, say they'll eke it out for a year and then come back for like an upgrade and like an hour's extension. We don't want people to make that their plan. It's not saying that we can't approve that somewhere. It's just like, don't like count on this. I'm gonna stop talking. David, go ahead.
Yeah, it does say generally will not generally be supported, and that is it definitely is not saying that we're not going to hear it, or words to that effect that I heard you say, Sarah. Hey, let me say that the words applicants receiving administrative approval are doing a lot of work here. It means who a year ago got administrative approval without coming to a hearing before the community board for midnight beer and wine license. Almost nobody except for us four and a few others on the committee are going to understand what those 4 words mean. Now, how many phrases and sentences do we need? I don't know.
Well, applicants should know what it means because they're the ones getting the administrative approval.
Or applicants might know what it means. The lawyers will. The applicants, maybe the ones who have done this maneuver.
Yeah.
Anyway, that had received administrative approval or something like that, for a midnight beer wine license.
Oh, okay.
Applications for an upgrade to, and then that's enough words probably. All right, the rest of you are clearly better word people than me. Have at it.
And I just want to have a quick clarification question. Does this mean that it is possible that they can get the upgrade to an OP, and will support the OP, but not the later hours? if
I
they're
mean,
coming.
we could, I mean, it gives us it's not saying that we 100% won't do that.
Right.
We like, it's just guidance to that, it's guidance to applicants to try and help
Right.
them make their plan
So-
more.
To Amanda's point, like, I guess why restrict that we won't support for hours later than midnight if it's like, oh, we'll support maybe a 2 a.m. beer wine, but not a 2 a.m. OP, or
So
we'll.
those are not administrative approval, like the one we did tonight was on administrative approval. The 2 a.m. wine beer, because I had the same thought, I was like, wait, that seems counterintuitive, but this is only for people that get administrative approval and don't come in front of the committee at all.
Right. So,
But if there's two things, they can change hours or the type of license. Why would we say? Why would we say that we will not support a change in hours?
Oh, you're saying, I see what you're saying. So like, why are we not saying we won't support your upgrade plus the hours and or the hours?
Yeah,
The way that
why did we pick hours?
Yeah, because, okay, that's a good question. Because I guess in experience from like what causes problems, that it's not actually necessarily the type of alcohol, it's the hours. So like, even if you have a full on premises and you close at midnight, like you don't cause problems really. Like Susan, I was talking to Susan, she said like there are very, very few places that have an OP that close by midnight that are a problem, because it's like the late night noise that's the issue. And in fact, this is like crazy to think about, but like there has been talk about doing administrative approval for on-premises licenses that close by 12. That has been like a thing that's been floated. David's like, fuck over my dead body.
well, I mean, I did make a expression.
So listen, I'm not married to this. This is more like, we don't have to like approve this. This is just something that came out of this application that came up for Upper Avenue A, got admin approval, then like came back a year later to ask for an upgrade plus an hours extension.
I think it's definitely worth doing. That's not the only time that has ever happened. It's happened repeatedly.
Could we instead say applicants who are like considering, you know, considering a midnight beer wine license with potential like upgrades or, you know, later upgrades, you know, we like discourage that. Sorry, I'm like.
Well, we have in our administrative approval that they're not allowed to come back before a year for like any method of operation change, hours or OP. So, and the intent behind that is like, let's see how they've operated for a year before we can, you know, assess whether or not they're a good candidate. That's what I'm looking for, you know, an upgrade.
If I can say that the thing that does happen is people come in, get administrative approval. Now they got a fact on the ground. Oh, they're the 12th license on the block. It was just beer wine. We decided through administrative approval, we were flooded with applications. You see how long it takes us to do even simple ones. So they get it in there without any sort of community board considering whether it's a good idea or not. And then they come to us and say, you know, we've been at it with beer and wine. We want to do full liquor and we want to be a bar now, 2 a.m. liquor. And all this is saying is, all right, you didn't come to us for a year because we actually made you promise you wouldn't do that to get the administrative approval. So that's no doubt written into their license. So anyway, they can come to us at that time for an upgrade, but this is just saying we generally are not going to give you more than midnight, even in the future, if you created a fact on the ground by refusing to come to the committee to discuss whether it was a good idea to create a new license.
So can we
That's
just
what I
say,
would say.
generally, you know, we request applicants who may seek an upgrade from a midnight beer wine license to a full on premises liquor license with hours later than midnight, you know, to pursue that first. I don't know. the difference for me is basically telling people what you want them to do versus saying, don't do this. Like, and it makes a substantive difference, because basically what you're saying is you want people to know, go for the thing that you actually want outright.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that when I read this, not having the context of what you guys are
Yeah.
talking about. Like, that didn't make any sense to me until I got the context.
Okay.
It still doesn't make a lot of sense to me because
Yeah.
I don't fully understand, I guess, the harm. But if I'm trying to just speak to what you guys are saying, I would say,
I don't like this anymore. I think Sarah talked me out of it, honestly.
Maybe it should go into both places. Like the people who are applying for it, they should be also told, oh, and if you go this route, because we have something we give them to help them make that decision about the administrative approval. If it just the same stuff over there, then I think that we have said it.
so like applicants apply for what you ultimately want.
Yeah.
So you can't put that in the guidance, but you know what I mean?
Right. That's why I'm thinking like it's just not a good, if this doesn't make sense, like I don't think we should include it. If it's not saying what we wanted to say and we can't say what we want to say, which we can't, I don't think. Like we can't just say like apply for what you actually want. Don't try to sneak in. Like we can't say that.
Well, I think it does do what we want. I'm not a fan of fetishizing, positive, that this is what you need to do. It's, there's going to be a push at full board to have the committee not say that we deny it unless they sign notarized stipulations. There's going to be an attempt to make us say the applicant will not open their door, that we are actively telling them what they will not do rather than getting them to promise what they will or won't do. And that's maybe it's not the exact same thing, but well, that one will do real damage to how the committee works. So we should all speak against that if that idea comes up.
I think that we should table this. Without Susan on, I feel like we might make a mistake here with what, because she's the one who talks to the applicant. So I am in favor of deleting this addition that I made. Are there any objections to that, to just tabling it for now and we can come back to it another time?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry.
Like no objection.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, with that in mind, so the only change will be these ones in green now. Any other changes to this before we go to a vote? Okay. I'm gonna count this as our final votes, roll call votes. Okay. Michelle, yes. Amanda?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you all. Appreciate your attention to this. I thought this was going to be a very short meeting. It went a lot longer than I thought, but I appreciate that everyone cares a lot. So that's why we debated a bunch. David, I'm like worried about what you're talking about trying to change the SLA guidelines. Or the SLA way we do our stipulations, but I'm sure Susan will smack down whoever tries to do
You
that.
heard it brought up at the
Yes.
last meeting, and
I know who it is.
Asked
Yeah.
about it, and they're going to try.
Okay. Well, that's really dumb, but
But to be clear, everyone, I think we understand it, but we need to be able to clearly explain it to the rest of the board. It is extremely strong to be able to go to the SLA that says that we deny it unless they sign these stipulations that they will do these things, and it will be put onto the license. Any other language is just makes no sense to me. They said it at the last meeting, and they're, I believe, going to say it again. They want it to be more direct, that the community board is saying, right? At the last meeting, they couched it. Who wrote these? Why did you let the applicant write it? Right. What we've done is we make the applicant swear that they will do this as a condition